Meet Jerry. He wants to play a rousing game of cards with Grandma. But Grandma lives miles and miles away. What are they to do? Mail cards to each other? Haha, don't be silly. By the time Grandma has mailed her attack card, tap it for 1 mana point, mailed a card of Jar of Coveting that lets her draw and mail 10 more attack cards, all in battle-ready position while playing a full suite of counter-attack cards, poor Grandma is out of stamps. Jerry could use a proper online platform that gives him the power to play his Grandma in any card game, no matter the distance. Lucky for him, there's Meet Todd, an avid card gamer whose favorite niche card game has been out of print for 30 years, and every remaining copy will run him at least $500. He scours the internet for a copycat online, but to no avail. Todd could use a neat online solution that lets him recreate any card game and play it with friends. Lucky for him, there's Meet Thunvard, a budding young creative wanting to prototype his brand new card game and test it easily with friends. He could use yes, the needs of the card game enthusiast is many. Lucky for Jerry, Todd, and Thunvard, there is an easy online solution for all of them and much more. Candlelight. Create card games with ease in an intuitive game creation studio so good, you'll never go back to paper. Polish it up and publish it for the whole world to play, or keep it private. Play with your friends and family. Jump into playing a game with just a few clicks. Choose a game of your own or any published game made by users just like you. Then just pass the room code to your friends and they can hop right in. So easy, even Grandma can do it. But enough blabbering from me. Why don't we hear all about it from our team behind Candlelight?
We are the team behind Candlelight, a website that lets you create, share, and play your favorite card games online. On our team, we have Brian Sexton, myself, Xander Ruiz, Ryan Lake, and Zachary Gust. So the motivation behind Candlelight is, as avid card and tabletop gamers ourselves, we wanted a product that makes it super easy and intuitive to do two things: to create virtually any card game and to play your card games with others online or in the same room, party game style. Before doing this, we did some market research to look at the solutions that are out there, and we found overwhelmingly there were two major solutions to this issue. You can either code your own site or digital game from the ground up if you wanted to recreate or create your favorite card game, or you could use existing applications that require a very powerful PC to run them. And so in response to that, we wanted to create a solution that is lightweight, meaning you don't have to have a high-end PC to play and build games, and intuitive, meaning you don't need a deep coding background to create games. And that's how the idea of Candlelight came about. We decided to make an in-browser web app that makes it as easy as possible to create, share, and host games, and keeps the tabletop experience 2D to make sure that it uses as little processing power as possible.
Right now, I am here with my two friends, and we are wanting to finish up a game that we're making. It's super unique and never have been heard of before. We're going to call it One, because the most exciting part of the game is when you have one card left in your hand. And I've already started it, so I'll go ahead and come here into my games. I called it Uno here as a code name. Different language I thought might throw people off who are stealing it. Now, the main draw of one is we want to be able to have lots of different colored cards. And I've already come in and I've created a bunch of cards here. So you can see I have blue, I've got yellow, and there's some red cards at the top as well. And then of course there's numbered cards for all of them. But we're missing our red numbered cards. So let's go ahead and add those. So we'll go ahead and make a card. And this is going to be a red 0. We'll go ahead and put that text on there as well. Give it a nice vibrant red color, and we'll go ahead and just throw it into our deck. Now we could do this for all of our cards, but that seems a little bit like a pain. So what we can do is we can come here into the card creator, we can make values 1 to 9, give it some pre-printed text, that's what a suit is, say 2 copies of each card. Every card should have, this is about where we were. And we'll go ahead and apply. Now all of our cards are added into the deck. Now, of course, I have 2 friends with me, and this has a maximum players of 2. So let's go ahead and bump up the max players to 3, and we'll need to add a view for player 3. Let's give it a nice, we'll say dark wood. There we go. And at the start of the game, we'll deal 3 cards to everyone. So we'll deal cards. We'll select this deck, and then we'll flip the top card from this deck into this card place. Now we'll go ahead and make it our very own name. I'm not going to make it public yet because we're going to want to do a test run here in just a moment, but let's go ahead and save it as is. So now if we come back into my games, we've got the updated version. Let's go ahead and play it with my friends here. So I'm Ryan, and my friends can join here at MXOL. So whenever they get in, we'll get the game started and we can see. Perfect. All right, well, I've got both my friends. Let's go ahead and start the game. I've got some splash text to the start. Not too worried about that. Let's just go ahead and sort out what we've got going on here. Looks like it's my turn, judging from this guy. So I'll go ahead and play the yellow 0 and pass the turn to Xander.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play a yellow 6 on that, and I'm going to pass the turn.
All right, I don't have anything, so I guess I'll have to draw a card, pull it into my hand, and end my turn.
All right, I do have a card I can play still, so I'm just going to play it and pass.
I'm going to be a little bit devilish here, and I'm going to play draw 4, pass the turn.
Oof.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, hopefully I got something good here.
And Xander, what color should it be since you played the draw?
I'm going to
4?
go ahead and I'm going to choose red.
Red. Oh man.
Thank you so much.
There you go.
All right. At this point, I'm going to have to draw. You can draw simply by clicking on the deck, bringing it into your hand, and then you can flip cards over by right-clicking. This happens, of course, anywhere you do it, so that's totally fine. Let's say we run out of cards here in our deck. We can reshuffle simply by dragging our play area over into the deck, like so. And of course, if you try to drag it other places, it's not going to let you. Now, Xander, he hasn't been a very good sport either, so I'm going to go ahead and kick him. And you can see he immediately gets dropped from the game. I'm happy with where we are. I'm going to quit while I'm ahead, and I'll end the game. Of course, there are plenty of public games that the wonderful dev team has made that are all public that anyone can go ahead and start a game with. But with that, we will jump out of the demo and talk a little bit more about some of the system capabilities. So let's talk a little bit about the technologies that make Candlelight possible. Now, our front end is primarily built on Angular, and I say primarily because the game engine itself is a little bit of a different beast. But the front-end Angular site handles anything that is an out-of-game experience. This includes things like creating a game and gameplay, but things like the login and account system, the exploration, the joining a game, all of that is handled through Angular. Like I mentioned, the game engine itself, though, is handled as a custom-built from the ground up WebGL2 engine. This means that everything is done on the graphics card and is also incredibly fast and responsive because of it. And this is embedded directly into the Angular site, and it handles both the creation studio and the gameplay itself. This is a standalone process that communicates with the Angular website for the data to be passed to the backend server. That backend server itself is built on Go, again, from the ground up, completely custom. And we used a slightly unorthodox database in that we used Redis as our database. This was initially going to be just our caching system, but it turned into the database system just because it seemed like overkill to try to bring an entire new database system in for the very few things that we actually needed it to do. We, of course, deployed it on AWS using Docker images, so we were able to run it on a very small instance without much overhead and keep things nice, snappy, and responsive.
And to take a deeper look at our system architecture, most of our site functions off of a REST API relationship. So you have our front end, which is built, the majority of it, on Angular. So things like joining a game, hosting a game, all of our other pages for exploring games, those are all built out in Angular and speak to the backend via a REST API. However, some parts of our Angular front end act as more of a wrapper for our custom game engine that essentially acts as its own process, and Angular hosts that process when you're on the Creation Studio or in the Play portal, and that process communicates with the Angular wrapper via a custom middleware that we wrote. And when you are on the Play portal, that actually ends up getting a WebSocket connection. So for each client, they have a WebSocket talking to our Go backend. You can see there on the backend, Go stores all relevant state in Redis. So that's anything from game definitions from the Creation Studio to things like lobbies and game states during gameplay. And that is essentially a look at our system architecture.
Okay, so Candlelight has been a passion project for us. We all have really cared about making it as good as possible because we want to be able to use it ourselves and enjoy it. So throughout the process, we've wrote over 25,000 lines of code, completed over 200 issues on our issue board, made over 570 commits, and we've also done 16 user studies. So that helped us get some feedback to make some changes, and that helped us make Candlelight as good as it is today.
And thank you so much for watching. We've put a lot of work into this, as Brian mentioned, and we all really hope that you enjoy Candlelight.